going on, guys? Micro here, and today we're going to be discussing the latest patch on Black Ops 3. Now, this patch was pretty big. I believe it was 5 or 6 gigabytes. I don't actually remember on that. It updated while I was at work and I wasn't home, so I didn't get a chance to see that. But it was a huge update, I know that, and it fixed a variety of things in multiplayer, zombies, nightmare mode, and things of that nature. But for this video, we are going to be discussing the multiplayer features that I found, pretty important or at least interesting. So without further ado, guys, let's get right into it. The first patch here I have on my notes is that you could actually no longer vote for the previous map for an infinite amount of times. As you guys know, if you play a lot of pubs in this game, you have the next option. It gives you the option to play the next map or the previous match or the map which you just played on. And when Combine came up, Nuketown came up, it would automatically get selected, obviously, because everyone loves those maps. And you could vote for that map an infinite amount of times, making it like Counter-Strike, where you can just keep playing Dust 2 over and over and over and over again. I know people get annoyed at that, so you can actually no longer do that. I believe the maximum amount of times you could play a map in a row in a pub lobby is twice. After that, it is like Black Ops 2. That map then becomes unvotable, and you can only vote for the next map or a random map. Next up on the list here, the XP rates have been balanced. So across game modes, you get different XP in Safeguard, 50 points a kill, and then that equates to how much XP you get at the end of that game. Now, apparently they deemed some things unacceptable, some things were too high, some things were not enough, and it looks like it actually slowed down the XP rate, to be honest, because I'm leveling up at a snail or a sloth's pace at this point. So they did balance some XP things there. And now this is pretty important, but I actually want to come back to it because I'm not exactly sure. They added a colorblind mode for people that have different types of color blindness. There's a bunch of different settings that you can go for. I have really no idea what types of color blindness there are. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not colorblind, and so I honestly don't know, but there are a few different options there for different color blindness. And now next, for you hardcore lovers, I know I'm with you guys, I'm a hardcore player at heart. Before I became competitive player, I only played hardcore exclusively, and I absolutely loved how it took so little to kill and then you died so easily. So some hardcore things here, guys. These are actually pretty big ones, that's why I wanted to go over them. Your teammates can actually no longer hurt your score streaks. Apparently, I haven't played much hardcore in this game, but apparently your teammates were able to shoot your score streaks and damage them and actually blow them up. Well, that is no longer a thing, guys, so you don't have to worry about those trolling teammates anymore. I mean, they can keep killing you, obviously, but they aren't going to be able to destroy your hard-earned score streaks. The second one here, AI score streaks actually don't count for you to be kicked out of the game. And I believe in every other Call of Duty before this, if you kill 3 teammates, by accident or on purpose or however, you get kicked from the game or that lobby. So that's a pretty big deal. When your AI score streaks, your artificial intelligence, the ones you don't control, would go around killing people, that would count towards your kills and actually you getting kicked out of the game. But it's actually great. Hardcore players don't have to worry about that anymore. The only ones you have to worry about are the ones you do control, such as RC cars, lightning strikes, Hellstorm missiles. Those will actually count towards you getting kicked from the game, but not the ones you do not control, such as Talons, GI units, things of that nature. Now, the next thing we're going to move on to here, guys, are specialists. And some of these actually surprised me. Actually, just one really surprised me, and that's the first one we're about to talk about here, and that Rejack was actually buffed, which blows my mind, because this is a glorified version of Last Stand. Now, those are the two biggest things for hardcore. Why they decided to bring it back, I don't know. Maybe they thought it was going to be better as a specialist. Whatever, it's there. It's not too annoying anymore. People don't use it. But they actually buffed it, and you stand up quicker after using Rejack now, which, like I said, no one really uses it anymore. I don't run into it very often, especially in competitive. So not that big of a deal there, but just look out for that. It might become a bigger thing in pubs now that you stand up faster. Now, this next one, actually, I don't know if you guys noticed it or not, but I noticed it a lot playing competitive, because we do this thing called sound whoring, where we turn up our headset pretty loud and we try and listen for any little thing to give us an edge up on where the enemy actually is. And if you ever use the Reaper, or you've heard people use the Reaper, which is the robot, you can tell that since it was a robot, I guess it was heavier on the feet, and it was actually very, very easy to hear, even across the map at times. It's pretty crazy, and actually that has been balanced now, so they lowered it to be the same volume as all the other specialists that are human, which is great, because in competitive, if you use the Reaper, you're almost at a disadvantage because of how loud your footsteps were, but so it's a great thing that that's fixed. Now, the last specialist here that was actually tampered with was the it was the Ripper. I'm drawing a blank on the guy's name, but it was the Ripper. So they reduced the specialist power stored after, activating it and then dying. So this one's unique since you gain it very, very quickly, and if you use it and then die, it would drain like a quarter of your power, your specialist power bar, and then it would store that, and that's why you kept getting it so quickly. They actually reduced the amount that it stores now after you get killed. So now if you get a kill and die, it used to take away a quarter of your bar, and now it takes away a half. I don't know those stats exactly, I'm just giving you guys an example for that one. Now, moving on from the specialist onto more of the weapons, attachments, the real grit and grime of these updates and what everyone actually notices. And the first thing here is rapid fire was buffed. I'm not exactly sure what that means. It just said that, increased all rapid fire effectiveness. I'm assuming that means they increased the RPMs if you had rapid fire on any guns. This is across any gun. Just the attachment in general, I believe makes it shoots a little bit faster than it did before. Now, next up on our list, on all the submachine guns, they actually reduced the sprint out speed. Now, I'm not too sure what this means, but I have noticed when you come out of a sprint, the submachine guns don't aim in quite as quick as they used to, unless you're running fast hands. I think it's fast hands, maybe not, I might be mistaken on that one. The one that lets you aim quicker after you sprint, unless you're running that, even if you're running that, your submachine gun doesn't aim quite as quickly after. I believe that's what it is, at least that's what I've noticed even before I looked at the patch notes, so I'm pretty sure that that's what that means. Now, this next one is even more of something I don't know. I know in competitive you were banned from using a sniper overkill with VMP or VMP overkill sniper, just because I know it suppressed you from the minimap even without, a suppressor. So you can shoot with the VMP and not even show up on the minimap even if you did not have a suppressor on the gun, and I believe that that's what it fixed. I'm not exactly sure. It didn't specify on that. I've never used it. I've never seen it happen, so I believe that's what it is. All the patch notes said was that a glitch where you temporarily wouldn't be seen on the minimap while firing with a VMP has been fixed. I'm assuming that's what that is, but I'll just have to wait and see if that gets unbanned on competitive. Now, next up, guys, we just have some, buffs / improvements on guns. For the XR2 Shiva and ICR, they increased the ADS aim stability. So, as you're aiming in, your crosshair isn't going to move as much, that type of thing. And also on the XR2, they increased recoil control. So it's a little bit more predictable, it's a little bit more accurate, and it's a little bit easier to use, which is great because I love the XR2. Now, next up is the Argus, which it was a really big surprise to me. They increased the damage range. The Argus was a beast already. It was kind of like the slug round shotgun, if you will. And I'm actually really surprised about this one, that they increased the damage range, and they also did that on the KRM as well. Now, this next patch here actually applies to all of the LMGs and the snipers, and they increased the aim stability on all LMGs and all snipers. So the same thing with the XR2, Shiva, ICR, all LMGs and all snipers. As you aim in with them, they go more in a straight line as you're aiming, and it just makes the guns easier to use. Now, the next one is actually a pretty big thing for competitive, especially in uplink, but this has two effects really, on uplink and in safeguard. FMJ used to do extra damage to the robot, and also it would be like the ball carrier in uplink didn't even have the extra health, because FMJ would make it so where your gun would just ignore that altogether and act like the guy had a regular health. That's no longer a thing. FMJ no longer does increased damage to the robot in safeguard, and it also fixed the thing where, it acted like there was no extra health for the guy with the ball in uplink. So that has been fixed, and that's actually great for competitive. Alrighty, guys, that is it for the listed and I say listed because I kind of want to go back to the colorblind thing, the listed patch notes. So, you know, I'm sure you guys, if you guys have updated this game and you've played it since, you've noticed that the hit markers have been really delayed. Some of them would turn red when you got the kill, some of them wouldn't. And I know as of making this video about 10 hours ago, as I was at work, David Vonderhaar tweeted out that they actually did have a patch, and I just got on the game and I updated it. They fixed the hit marker thing a little bit. They're still a little bit delayed, especially in kill cams and search and destroy. It's actually pretty bad. So they fixed a little bit of the hit detection type of a thing. But the thing I really want to get into is go back to this colorblind mode. I don't know if that's what's causing it, is because they added this new mode. I know that they did change, they made some color corrections to the map Hunted, and it looks gorgeous. But for me, every single map, you know, Redwood, every jungle map is where I notice it the most, but I have noticed it in other maps like Fringe. The color looks much different. It looks more high def to me, and I do think this is because of the colorblind mode. I could be mistaken here, but yeah, it looks way different. I've had to turn my brightness down actually, because on Redwood, I would be running, and then I'd see the sky on my screen, and I'd get blinded, and I couldn't see my red dot, and that was a problem. So I actually had to turn my brightness down with this. Whether this was done on purpose, an accident, it's because of the addition of the colorblind mode. I just had to mention it because it actually changed the way I played, to be honest, and it was a big deal that I didn't even know was coming, and it wasn't even in the patch notes. Thank you guys so much for watching this video discussing the Black Ops 3's most recent update. It was a really big one, guys. I know we had to go through a lot here because there were a lot of key important ones that we had to get through. Anyways, guys, if you did enjoy the video, feel free to give it that hot thumbs up. Feel free to subscribe if you're new to the channel. Spread this video around. Let's get me out there, as I say. And as always, guys, I will see you on the next video. Peace out, guys.